Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater SoundCheck. Today we are joined by Blake Angelos, product specialist from Yamaha. Blake, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
And we have something cool to show you here, something that Yamaha is calling the Reface Ecosystem, and it's based around these Reface keyboards. So Blake, if you will, let's start by just giving us an overview of what the Reface keyboards are.
Well, the Reface keyboards are our line of mobile musical instruments. The tagline is, create your sound anyplace, anytime. Interestingly enough, I actually travel with this one. This one I brought here. This is my Reface CP. So this focuses on electronic pianos. We have over here the Reface DX. This focuses on FM synthesis with real-time controls, which is kind of a cool thing for FM synthesis. Traditionally, it was very membrane switches, and now we have real-time control with the Reface DX. We also have the Reface CS, which is analog physical modeling, and then the Reface YC, which is 5 different retro tone wheel organs. Things like, classic tone wheel, combo organs, our Yamaha YC45. So they all kind of represent different types of musical instruments, but they're truly musical instruments. They're mobile. You can play them from, we have a breakout cable, so if you decide you don't want to play off of the small keys, you can play it from a full-size keyboard. And 1/4-inch outputs, they're very cool, very unique mobile musical instruments.
And they sound awesome, as you demonstrated during the play-in.
Yeah, I love this guy.
So what you've got going on here is we have the Reface keyboards, and then you've got an iPad, and you've got a laptop. So what is this Reface ecosystem that we refer to?
So when we first released Reface, we had an app that was called the Capture App. And that's what's running over here. This is Reface Capture. This is our new version, Reface Capture 2.0. And the whole idea of the Capture App was, as you can tell, there's no preset memory on the CP. It's a very real-time one-to-one interface. But if I wanted to save things on this instrument here, I could do it with the Reface Capture App. Now, right now, I have it set up so it's looking for a DX, which is what we have here. Well, it's cool because as soon as I switch it over, if I grab it out of the DX and I plug it into the USB 2 host port on the back, it'll switch right to CP. So this sound, for example, that I was playing, let's say I had the wah on and the phaser. So I love that sound. Now what I want to do is capture that sound. So now, again, I'm using an iPad here. It could be an iPhone 6 or whatever.
Sure.
It just for us being able to see it, it's easier to see it. But I can hit this little icon right here, and I can immediately capture it. Now if I want to save that, I can say, well, I'm going to save it, and I can name it, I'll name it Mitch. M-I-T-C.
Clever name if I ever heard one.
It's going to have an exclamation point too, maybe. Mitch.
Even better.
So now this is my new sound called Mitch. Now I can go over here and I can rate it. But the cool thing about it is that I can also save this up on what's called Sound Mondo. I can save all this locally here, and it's in my system right here as Mitch. Now, the cool thing about this is I can save all these. I can instantly recall things. So right now, here's Mitch, right? If I select the CF Pop, though, so that's a CP70, a Yamaha CP70 sound. I can instantly recall Mitch right here again. So it gives me this preset interface for the Reface units. But that's just kind of where it starts. We also have this other thing that's called Sound Mondo. Now we've integrated it inside of the Reface Capture App, which we didn't have before. And I think a good way to show Sound Mondo is to maybe switch it over to this guy over here and show how these two sort of work together. So what I want to do here is just take it out of this iPad. Now, I should tell people this too. This is a little accessory that you need to connect to the iPad. This is the Camera Kit 3, I believe. This third one, because it allows you to actually charge things now.
Right.
The old one was just this, but all it does, it's a lightning port and it just connects USB. So it allows me to connect MIDI into a computer or rather into an iOS device. So now I'm going to move it over to the browser here. Now, what you're looking at over here is Sound Mondo. This is running on the Google Chrome browser. It uses a technology called WebMIDI, which is an API that works with Google Chrome. So what that allows me to do is connect to the computer without the use of any driver. And it automatically sees Reface. So I plug it in here, and it sees that it's a CP that just connected to Sound Mondo.
Right.
So what's the benefit of Sound Mondo? Sound Mondo allows me to now go into the browse area, and I have this, again, the CP connected right here, and I can browse by instrument. Now it automatically sees that I have a CP. But now, here's one of my sounds here, Blake Angelos, Mount Pleasant. I did that one last week. But if I move through here to other ones, I can see things by different users in here. Let's say I want to try this one by this guy, Phil Curry, RD Phaser 2. So I can click on this, and it tells me what it is. He's a producer from Seattle, smooth roads with a phaser. And then if I synchronize it, boom, I can go right here, and there it is here. So it's this phaser sound in here. All right, now one thing I want to show you that's cool about Sound Mondo in here is that if I want to recreate that sound and match my front panel voices, I can do it right here by simply grabbing each of these things that is listed in blue and move the knob to the position that's in, and it updates the knob, and you can see it moving in real time here. So this one's in the right position. This one I need to move here. This one I need to move here. And this one I need to move here. So that's the Sound Mondo kind of browsing experience. It's a very cool thing. Now, if I want to, I can save my own stuff. I can save private files so I don't have to share them with anyone. I can just use it for my own music. Or I can participate in this huge 4,000 voice ecosystem for the Reface keyboards. Now, before, with Reface Capture, we didn't have that capability. Now we've added it into Capture now. So I can now go. Now, we were looking at this one that was called Slow Phase, right?
Right.
Or RD Phaser 2 by Phil Curry. Well, let's say Phil Curry, this guy seems like a cool guy, and I know him, so he's a friend of mine. I can talk about him. So I'll go back over here to my iPad, and I'll plug it into the lightning port. Now I'm going to go over here to Sound Mondo, and it shows me in here, but I'm going to search in here for Phil Curry, P-H-I-L. There they are. So now you see that we have the Capture app over here, right? But we also have stuff right through here. So I can search for different people. I can search for me. Let's search for me now. B-L-A-K-E. So everything that will show up under the name Blake Angelos is right here. Randy's Roads, Phil's Phase, Sweet Phase Whirly. So you have this now visual way where you can interact with what we have up here in Sound Mondo integrated into the Capture app. And that's kind of what we like to call the ecosystem that we have in here. You have either Reface, where you can connect to the browser using the Google Chrome, using WebMIDI, or you can use our app right here and have access to over 4,000 sounds for free. And growing. Each month we usually get another 500 sounds, and we're shooting for, we'll have probably 10,000 in a few months here.
Wow,
so
that's
it's a very cool thing. And it's a kind of a unique experience that I don't think anybody's ever really done by sort of leveraging this technology as a sound sharing social media type synthesis ecosystem. That's why we kind of use the term ecosystem, the Reface ecosystem.
Right,
Yeah.
awesome. So now, does that also allow you to do editing on the computer screen and see what's happening inside, for example, the DX?
That's a great point. So I'm going to show you another one here. I'm going to go over here because it's a little easier to see it on the Capture site. But we're going to switch it over here. Now, you saw last time when I connected this, it connected to CP. Well, I'm going to unplug it, and it'll unplug. And it's, Reface disconnected. Now we're going to plug it over here. And it'll say, look, DX. So it automatically connects it without you having to fiddle with anything. It just works. So I'm going to go over here to Sound Mondo, and I want to browse in the DX category, which is right here. Now, there's a specific one that I'm looking for in the DX world, and it's actually, the guy I want to look for is a guy named Manny. So Manny Fernandez is one of the original DX7 programmers. And the guy is a genius. So what he does with this one sound in here that I love to show is there's one called Time Vortex. I was in Japan about 2 weeks ago at a meeting, and myself and the marketing manager were talking. He goes, dude, did you see this? So what's cool about Sound Mondo is not only is it sounds, we also want people to also participate with different tags. So you can have things that are tags on Instagram, you can have them on Vine if you want a very short video, or you can have a YouTube channel. So what we've done here is Manny did this Reface DX patch tutorial called Time Vortex, where he plays it, and then he plays it from an SY99 as a controller.
Right.
And this is all coming from the Reface DX. So he plays it first, and just hearing the sound blows my mind that it's a 4-operator FM synthesizer. It just shows you the power of this synthesizer of FM synth.
Right, right.
So he plays it for a while, and then
This is the patch time vortex. I'm going to break down.
and then he sits here and he goes through how he created it. So if you don't know a lot about FM synthesis, he explains what the algorithm is. He explains what each operator is doing. He talks about how the rate scaling is set up so that on one hand you have this sort of undulating low frequency thing, and then this cool synth pad lead thing on top.
Right.
So really an educational thing too. Now, with the oops, let me get it out of full screen. Stop this first. Now, when I sync this, so I'm going to go up here, I'm going to get this sound, because right now I have Dynalead in here. So if I say sync, you'll watch over here, and it'll change it to time vortex. So now I have. So now I have Manny's voice, but not only do I have his voice, I have the patch right here. So it is an editor with regard to the DX here. It gives you this cool visual editor that you can use on here.
Very nice.
Now for other editing, you saw before with the CP where you move the knobs, so it gives you that. Because this one, you know, it has a kind of a one-to-one interface. It's got just the effects and the different models of the EPs. So this one, not so much. On the CS, because the sliders are in there, it just shows you where to move the sliders. And on the YC, the organ, it shows you where to move the drawbars. With this guy, because there's a little bit more depth of the programming in here, and it doesn't have all the immediately abundantly clear things on the front panel, we actually give you this cool graphic in here to compensate for it, because there is no way to, you know, how do I move that? You know,
Right,
you
right.
can't really show that. So we give you this in here, but it's just awesome. And you know, having both of these guys in here, and you know, check this out. Since we're already on here, if I unplug once again from here to here, oops, this is when I wanted to do it from here. I want to go over to the iPad now. Now I'm going to plug it in and watch what happens to the iPad. It switches over to DX sounds. So it knows automatically that I've selected a DX,
Right.
the Reface DX. It was a really well-designed product in a lot of ways. Not just the fact that they're amazing sounding standalone synthesizers, but they're also this cool Reface ecosystem where you have all of these voices that you can not only share your own voices, save your own voices, recall your own voices, but you can participate in this huge global network of different parts of, you know, sound creation of Reface. And it just kind of shows you where all the, and it shows a leaderboard on who's doing the most voices on here. It's a cool little
That's awesome.
site. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Mondo.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
These are deceptively powerful
Oh, yeah.
keyboards. They
Yes,
sound
they are.
great. And combining them with the computer and the iPad and the whole thing. And you can have either the iPad or the computer. You don't have to have both.
No, you
But
don't
if
at all.
If you do have both, great.
And as a side note, the Google Nexus 7 tablet, I believe, there's some of the Google tablets also work because they use
Chrome.
the Chrome. So
Nice.
it just has to do whether or not it's implemented the web MIDI. But with iOS, there's capture with the Sound Mondo component.
Right. Very
on
cool.
it. So yeah,
Very cool.
That's it.
Blake, thanks so much for coming in and showing the ecosystem to us. It's such a cool rig and a cool way to really get the most out of these keyboards. So.
Yeah, it's totally an awesome line, and I just and like I say, this flew out here to Sweetwater underneath the seat in front of me.
Ultimate portable
It
keyboard.
sits right in front, and I can sit there and jam. And I've had jam sessions at O'Hare before, actually. So anyway, so
Nice.
that's Reface.
Great to see you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Appreciate
man.
you coming
Yep,
in.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me for Sweetwater SoundCheck. I'm Mitch Gallagher.